So, in 2020, should we really be surprised when we hear about murder hornets? Really though, I guess, like, normally I would be like, wow, that's very surprising. But now I'm like, yeah, okay, It just seems like one thing after another. So I'm talking about the murder hornets in Washington State. Fun! Oh, here, let me show a picture first. If you hadn't seen this today, I feel like most people saw this today. Here they are. Oop. 2 inches big is what the article says. Or long. That's a dead one on his chest, by the way. You know that because he's smiling. Now it's off center. Let me get it back. Okay. This is a New York Times article that I'm going over. It rained today, so the pollen is a lot. Okay. This is what happened. It started back in, like, last winter. All these bees died, and this bee guy, he's like this bee expert, he didn't know why. They all died, and they were not just dead, they were decapitated. And he had no idea until recently he like put the pieces together and found out what it was. And so this is what happened. I'm going to go back to the top. He's a beekeeper, the guy. What's his name? Ted McFall. Had never seen anything like it. He couldn't wrap his head around what could have done that, right? So then, only later did he come to suspect the killer was what some researchers call the murder hornet. The queens can grow to 2 inches long. Their real name is Asian giant hornets. Also, side note, when I heard about these, I was thinking, okay, where's somewhere like humid, tropical, like all the Gulf, like lower Gulf states, not all of Texas, but like part of Texas that touches the Gulf, Florida, and Brooke, my friend, shared this on Facebook today, and she had a similar thought. No, it's in Washington. Okay. With queens that can grow to 2 inches long, Asian giant hornets can use their mandibles shaped like spiked shark fins to wipe out a honey hive. To wipe out a honey hive in a matter of hours, decapitating the bees and flying away with the thoraxes to feed their young. For larger targets, the hornet's potent venom and stinger, long enough to puncture a bee suit, make for an excruciating combination that victims have likened to hot metal driving through their skin. They kill about 50 people a year in Japan currently. Now, for the first time ever, they're in the US. I put a little note so that I'm not as bouncy around, but I think I'll still bounce around. Okay, so then they were also found in Canada. So they were found in Blaine, like on the border, and then in Canada. And they said, hold on, let me find the place. I skipped past it, sorry. Well, maybe I didn't get to it. Well, when I find it, I'll read that part. But this part's more interesting anyways. So when the guy found the one in Blaine, not the one in Canada, it was dead. And he had a hunch that it might be an Asian giant hornet, but it didn't make any sense to him because he's in Blaine, Washington, right? But he knew by looking at it, beyond the size, the hornet had a distinctive look with cartoonish, fierce face featuring teardrop eyes like Spider-Man. orange and black stripes that extended down its body like a tiger, and broad, wispy wings like a small dragonfly. So he immediately contacted the state, and he wanted them to confirm like what it was. And so the biologists got to work trying to figure out what it was. And then they were able to confirm that it was indeed an Asian giant hornet. They soon learned that local beekeeper in the area had also found one of the hornets. So then over the winter they got to work on a plan, and they were preparing for the coming season. And one of the things they were saying is that people are going to be afraid about the hornets stinging them. But the real concern is that these hornets kill hives. That's the thing we really should be concerned about, is what they said. Oh, I found the Canada part. Okay. Adding to the uncertainty and mystery were some other discoveries of the Asian giant hornet across the border in Canada. And this happened 10 miles away from the one in Washington State. That's too far for the hornets to be a part of the same colony. So it's two separate colonies. And then the crazier part is they were on Vancouver Island, and no wasp can cross the strait from the mainland to the island. But these bees, or excuse me, these, are they hornets or wasps? Hornets are so big and powerful, it's no problem for them to go across the strait that no other bee can go across. Anyway, so they tracked down the hive on Vancouver, and they were assigned to exterminate it. So, oh, this is crazy. So they were assigned to exterminate it, and so they made a plan. We're going at nighttime, we're wearing all sorts of gear, and we're not messing around. The bees, they had a different plan. So he set out in the night when the hornets would be in their nest. He put on shorts, thick sweatpants, then his bee suit. Then he donned Kevlar braces on his ankles and wrists. As he approached the hive, he said the rustling of the brush and the shine of the flashlight awakened the colony. Before he had a chance to douse the nest with carbon dioxide, he felt the first searing stabs in his legs, through the bee suit and underlying sweatpants. It was like having red-hot thumbtacks being driven into my flesh, he said. He ended up getting stung at least 7 times, some of the stings drawing blood. And then the article cuts to why they call them the Murder Hornet. The nickname is because there's an aggressive group attacks that can expose victims to toxic venom equivalents to that of a venomous snake. A series of stings can be fatal. So then they go back to the story. The night he got stung, the guy's last name looks French. Mr. Berbube managed to eliminate the nest and collect samples, but the next day his legs were aching like he had the flu. Of the thousands of times that he has been stung in his lifetime of work, he said the Asian giant hornet stings were the most painful. So then the article, it's a New York Times article, and it like stops. I can't read it anymore, but what's strange is I could read it on my phone. So I just took notes. So the rest I can't do from there, but I already read it on my phone, which I'm recording from. So let me find the place in my notes where that takes up. Sweatpants, stinging, earn the name. Here it is. So the end part, it kind of ends on a cliffhanger because they haven't finished fixing the problem yet. So they want to track the bees and eliminate them. But regular bee traps won't work. The holes in the regular bee traps are so small, and these hornets are so large that the traps won't work, so they have to do custom ones. And also they were talking about how there's so much land to cover and how can you find them. So what they've done is they've gridded the whole area, and they do like you know, when there's a missing person, they grid it and they do section after section. They're doing the same thing here. And when they find a bee, they're going to actually put, let me get the exact wording. They're going to use radio frequency tags to monitor where it goes, or attach small streamers to it and follow it returning to the nest. Most bees, you can't attach something to a bee. It can't fly. That wouldn't work. These bees, not a problem. So that's crazy. And that's how it ends. Like, they're just telling us the plan of what they're going to do. So, here, let me get the picture of the bee again, just so you can see it. This is what they look like. So if you do happen to see one, maybe try to get away from it. Okay, that's it. That's what the news is, and it's insane. And oh, I wanted to say something else, but I wanted to say at the end of the video so that I'm not chit-chatting at the beginning. So I think even after quarantine, I like making the videos. Like, they are a great way to socialize when you can't socialize, but I really like making them. So I think I'll just keep doing this because it's kind of fun. Everyone should do it, actually. It's really fun, and it's kind of weird talking to a camera, but I enjoy it, and it like gives me something like to look forward to, like, oh, that's a good idea. Oh, I could talk about that, you know, like, I don't know. That's all. Have a good day.